Hello and welcome back. In today's video, we are going to see about stacks and queues. This is our third video in the series of data structures. I've selected two data structures today because both of these look much similar with minor differences in the way these are implemented. And these fall under the category of linear data structure as well. And both the data structures are used to store a list of items. The main difference comes in the way we access the elements from the list. First, let's start saying about stacks. In case of stacks, the implementation which it follows is called as LIFO, with the full form being last in, first out. So let's say this is your stack and you want to add elements to your stack. You do that by using a push operation. That is, you're pushing the elements to the stack and say this is your first element, and then you're adding your second element, and then you're adding your third element. I'm just storing some random numbers. And there comes a time where you want to access the elements in the stack. When you're doing a pop operation or trying to access the element in the stack, you will be able to only access the last element that is pushed into the stack. And we will not be able to access the other elements which lie under this element until we pop this one out. So that is the meaning of last in, first out. So whatever is the element that you push the last one, that will come out as the first element. So this is a push and this is called a pop. However, when we say queues, it is our traditional queues and it follows FIFO or FIFO implementation model, which means first in, first out. Meaning whatever element enters into the queue first will come out first. So let's say this is your queue and you are adding your elements into the queue this way. So let's say this is your first element, this is your second element, this is your third element. Then when you're trying to remove the elements from the queue or trying to access the elements from the queue, you will start accessing them from this side. Whatever element went in first will be accessed first, and all the other elements which lie after that first element will not be able to access them until the first element is dequeued. So the operation of putting the elements to the queue is called as enqueue, and the operation of removing the elements from the queue is called as dequeue. So that's the only implementation difference between stack and queue. So both helps in storing list of elements. In case of stacks, it is last in, first out. But in case of queues, it is first in, first out. Alright, so these were the basics of both stacks and queues. Now let's see what are the different operations that you can perform on stacks first. There are three operations that you can perform on a stack: push, pop, and then peek. So pushing an element into a stack means that you are adding a new element into the stack, and this takes O of 1 operation because you need not do any other searching or moving around or anything like that. So it's just a O of 1 operation. And popping an element from the stack is removing the top element from the stack, which is also again a O of 1 operation because you have direct access to that element. Next operation is peek, where you're taking a look at the last element. So this is again a O of 1 operation because you have direct access to the last element. You're just looking at it but not removing it. So these are the basic operations that you can perform on a stack. Queue supports three similar operations, which are enqueue, dequeue, and peek again. And all these operations take O of 1 time because you have direct access to all the elements. Enqueue is nothing but adding new elements to the queue. We'll be appending them at the end. And dequeue is removing the elements at the front. And peek is looking into the element which is there at the front of the queue. To give some of the real world examples for stacks, you can correlate them with the undo redo operations. So, whenever you are working with a Word document, you can edit the document and then remove your latest operation that you perform. So, the list of operations that you performed, like editing the document or removing an item or adding a diagram, all the operations are stored in a stack, and whichever operation that you performed last will be removed first. And for that implementation, stacks are used. In case of queues, the best example would be your processor processing the tasks. Your CPU processor will be storing the list of tasks in a queue manner. So whichever task enters first will be handled first, and it will be rotating it in the round robin manner. So your processor processing the tasks is an example for queues. Hope you found this useful. Both these data structures are very simple ones, but yet they are widely used. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. See you soon in the next video. Thank you.